What's going on, everybody? Thank you for being here. Whoa, let me start over because this is about to get real. All right, so what's going on, everybody? Thank you for being here. This is another episode of So Let's Talk. I'm not sure if you guys know or not, but I do a series called So Let's Talk. But for this one, I had to call it Keeping It Real with the Cowboy. But I've interviewed people like Blue Bobs and a bunch of other people that have nothing to do with gaming. So this is just a straight up me getting down and asking the questions that you guys want to hear, but from one of the most compelling people in the cloud gaming space, none other than Duncan. I like to call him, and some of you guys call him, the cloud gaming bad boy. So let's get him right up in here.
The cloud gaming bad boy. What the heck's that? Oh dear.
So I got a bunch of questions, Duncan, and you and I have never really got to speak, but I've been a guy in the community that's been watching, you know, Cloudy with a Chance of Games, Stadia Stores, everybody. I jump in everybody's streams, and what I will say is I always admired you because for me, you're a showman. All right. So what I mean is you're the guy. No matter what you say, good or bad, you have everybody talking. You have all the eyes on you. So I personally like you for that. That's also personally a reason why we're here as well. But what I want to do is start by thanking you for coming on the show. I appreciate it. And
yeah, sorry. If you don't watch anything I do, I always have myself. I always have myself muted because I'm just an absolute moonbeam.
I've definitely seen you do that a bunch of times. What I want to say, I guess the volume is good. If the volume goes crazy, guys, let me know. I can take this out of my ear because all I'm doing is listening to myself talk. I like to check the volumes. And so what I want to say, Duncan, is I didn't get to personally tell you this on air because I'm going to give credit where credit is due, guy. And what I want to personally say was thank you for what you did for the Black History Month Stadia Bash Community Network event. That was cool, man. You know, you tweeted out Cloudy with a Chance of Games. You do a community event on Sundays for that day. You were going to cancel it so we could stream. Not only did you cancel it, but you actually jumped in and you participated and you were checking it out. So I didn't get a chance to say that on to let people hear me say that, but I just wanted to personally start off by saying thank you for that. That was pretty cool, man. And a lot of people appreciated that.
There was nothing to think about that. It was that was much more important than what we were doing. So we were just said, everybody go watch you guys because that was a much bigger thing going on at that time.
Right. Okay, cool. Well, listen, the good thing is we got all the mushy stuff out the way because after this, no. Actually, so here's the thing, Duncan. What I want to do is pull up my questions and in order for me to ask you some questions that I really want to know, right? And I felt, so let me restart this for the people who are watching. Last week or 2 weeks ago, you were a guest on Cloud Gaming Extreme. And I watched it. I'm a fan. Like I said, I'm a fan of everybody. I watch everything, right? And I got a chance to watch it live. And for me, right, just being honest, because I'm keeping it real, you guys were talking about, you know, everything, Stadia, Luna, everything. But I felt that when I called you guys yes, man, I felt there's one person that says, oh, this, right? They push a narrative. And then everybody said what he said. And I personally want to hear what the individual have to say. Now, you've been very vocal, right? And I've watched a lot of shows with you on it. And I'm like, why nobody said this? Or why nobody said that? And so I figure, you know what, damn it, I'm going to ask Duncan to talk with me. And I want to ask on my own specific questions.
And can I just say this? We've had a couple of conversations. I do not know what's coming here. You're just shooting these off here. So this isn't, I've got my answers prepared here. You're just going to hear what I'm going to say.
And you know what, Duncan? That's the best thing. We don't need no pre-written. You know what keeping it real means? All right. It's not you having your little cheat sheet ready. All right. That's why I couldn't tell you too much. But in order for me to ask certain questions, I do want to take it back a little bit, right? So what I want to do is just I want to get a little bit of insight into your gaming history. So what I want to ask you was, first, let me just start real quick. I'm gonna, how did you get into gaming? Can you just take us back a little bit when you was a
I
wee little lad?
A wee little lad. When I was a wee little lad, I was playing on the Commodore 64. For people who are around in the 80s when all that was kicking off, I was playing in the arcades as well. You went down and paid your 10p
Yes,
or
sir.
20p. So it was your 25 cents into your arcade machines. That's where I got into gaming. And I have basically played on every single console. I've played on PC as well ever since. So
Wow. So you've because I know like Super Famicom wasn't something I could get, but that was Super Nintendo. But you pretty much played 3DO, you played Atari Jaguar, you played TurboGrafx-16, you played Neo Geo, you played those.
I didn't play Turbo Graphics. I had a
Okay.
Jaguar for a bit, didn't really like it. And I'll be honest again, it's when I'm talking about it, on the main ones, it's your Segas, your Nintendos. I played in some Atari stuff as well, but it was mainly the big hitters. I also, in my later years, I started playing on the other more outdoor stuff. I've played. I was a big person in the OnLive. I got
Okay.
an Ouya. I since I've been an adult, it's basically every single console stuff going. I am a magpie and I go towards it.
That's cool. So then let me ask you this: what's your favorite game like that's currently out? Do you have one?
What's currently out? Oh, my game tastes change like the wind,
Okay.
and my favorite game of all time would change like the wind. So the game I'm loving it the most. That's actually a tough one because I play through a load of games.
Okay.
Oh, let me see what game. If relatively recently, my favorite game has been God of War on the PlayStation 4.
Okay.
That's relatively recent.
Okay, the God of War 2018, right?
Yeah.
The most recent one. Yeah, that was game of the year.
Yeah.
Awesome game.
Awesome game of the year. But if you're going back of all time, again, there's three would always come to mind for me. It's Bioshock, Final Fantasy VII, and one for the old people in the back there, and even they might not even know this game. It's Megalomania, which is actually, you can actually play that now on Antstream, which is another game streaming service. So you can actually play that now. And that was on the Mega Drive. I played that. Which is the Genesis for the American audience.
Yep. Yeah. The people that don't know. Yeah. All right. Cool, man. So, let me ask you this. Everybody's been talking about recently, crossplay. So I'm just gonna go down the line, but you know what we came here for, man. I came here because I wanted to ask you specifically about your love and hate relationship with Stadia, but we're gonna get to that. What I want to ask you is, what do you think about crossplay? It's a big topic right now. Do you think, even Stadia Source just had it as a hot topic? What is your thoughts on crossplay? This has nothing to do with cloud. This is a period, right? Across the board. What's your thoughts on crossplay?
I think it's basically the same as everybody else. Bring it for basically every single game. The only thing I am a bit more worried about when we're going to talk about crossplay is when it's crossplay with PC, and when you get into mouse and keyboards and things like that. But majority, yes, I am all in favor of crossplay and crossplay between all consoles, and that's even the cloud gaming space ones. I count Stadia as a console in the cloud.
Yeah.
I think that should be a number one thing. And for people who maybe missed this earlier today, because I know a lot of people may have missed this, Destiny 2 has started the teasing of crossplay between Stadia and PC. And you can actually see that when you go into your friends list and whatnot.
Well, they said they want to be fully crossplay on season 15, right? And I think they're on season 14 now. So that
yeah. And they're starting to switch the buttons on a bit. So don't be surprised if in the next couple of months, before the full crossplay, you might see Stadia crossplay with PC as the test bed, because we know Bungie and Stadia have been tight since last year when Stadia launched.
True. Now let's do this before we let it run away with us. There are people in the chat that showed up. Let me just see. We got Spectre in the building, Stadia Pro, Bruce the Cheater. That's what I like to call him. We got the Great Rock in the building. We got Codex Chronicles. Michael Penn is in the building. Josh Warren's in the building. We got the Cyborg, Ray Sherrod. Dave is in the building. Just want to say what's up. Thank you guys for joining in. We got Jim, Jer Gaming. Let's see. We got Zero Games for me. Zero Games for me. So does that mean you're a gamer or not? We got Kelly in the house. We got Barry in the house. Let's see. We got Cloud Station TV, Cloud Gamer 201. Man, you guys definitely showed up, which is pretty cool. So I just want to say thank you guys for showing up. Once again, thank Duncan for showing up. So Duncan, let's get to some of these questions, man. So honestly, what is your favorite cloud platform and why? Like currently?
Currently, 100%, and myself and everybody, or basically everybody in the Cloud Gaming Extreme podcast say this: it is Stadia at this moment in time. That is the one which is the most mature and the one which actually plays better. You can jump into the games with, and I think it's or it should be well known that we say that all the time, and I say that all the time. However, the competition is vastly heating up. And believe it or not, I know this is going to ruffle some feathers. Even before the GeForce Now update of this week, a couple of the games on GeForce Now were actually look better, and for me play better on GeForce Now. But if you're just going, which cloud gaming platform at this single moment in time I think is quote unquote the best, it is Stadia.
Okay, so I good, because I got a follow-up question, but let me tell you how crazy this is, right? I'm minding my own business one day. This is probably a couple month or two ago, whatever, and somebody said, "Did you hear what Duncan said?" I said, "Hear what are you talking about?" Oh, man, on Cloudburst, he said Stadia is about to die. I was like, "What?" So I personally was like, "What is he?" So I had to watch. I missed that episode live, so I go find the episode, I go to Rock's channel, I watch it, and I'm like, "Oh man, that's an interesting take." So let's get into it, man. So I do believe in competition is good, and I do believe sometimes there are winners and there are losers, right? We could keep it real. But you felt you made a bold statement, and that was probably 2 months ago, maybe a month and a half, that Stadia would die in 6 months. So that means
no, it wasn't 6 months. It was 6 months to a year. Again, this is a lot of the media, a lot of the spin out there, which people are spinning for their own thing.
Fake news.
Fake news, yes. And a lot of these people who have been portraying that are doing that for their own reasons, but it was 6 months to a year.
Okay. So let me ask you this: did that change for you? Do you want to change that statement? You got a chance right now. Do you want to change that statement?
Nothing I have seen has told me it's not going to change at this moment in time. Really?
So listen. So Little Nightmares 2 came out, right? On Stadia, day and date for free, right? Whatever. It was on Pro. Pixel Junk Raiders came out, right? Day and date. Outriders is coming out day and date. Like, how do you how do you still think, let's just go with a year. Let's push it out further, right? Let's not say 6 months. 6 months to a year. Let's say a year. You don't think there's enough evidence to show that Stadia would be around longer than 1 year?
No. It comes down to one thing and one thing only, and that was the game studios. Stadia Games and Entertainment closing down. I'll put this picture into your mind. I know in the Stadia community, everybody hates Luna, or more or less. Luna is the one we're not allowed to talk about Luna. If Amazon came out tomorrow and said, we are shutting down Amazon Game Studios, I would be saying the exact same thing. I'm not saying Luna lasting 6 months or a year. That is a statement out there into the gaming hub that we are cutting back on games. And I know people are going to say, exclusives don't matter, exclusives, all that. Exclusives will matter, and we are going to see Microsoft especially are going to capitalize that, and we have actually started ramming that home over the last number of months. It was all the steps up until the Stadia Games and Entertainment closing, and that is what is telling me that Stadia is in a world of trouble. And if you go outside the gaming or the Stadia gaming bubble, and if you ask any other people, if a console or a gaming company which is trying to be a platform shuts down their first party studio, what does that tell you? It tells you that they are going to they're in big trouble. I floated to you this way. If PlayStation came out tomorrow and said we're shutting down all our PlayStation studios, what would you think?
So I'm glad you said that. Here's the thing, Duncan. I'm going to use your own terminology against you, right? So you said that PlayStation, not PlayStation, we'll get to that. But you said that if Luna decided to close down their studios, you would say the same thing. Now, here's the great part about that. Luna, what happened with Luna is, for me, what makes sense, right? So Luna, okay, or Amazon Game Studios created Crucible, right? I'm sure you know about that. And Crucible literally was you was able to play it, right? It was a game that came out, and they shut the game down because people didn't like it. So just think how much money they wasted, right, on that game. So in the way you're looking at it, in that case, we should be like, oh man, Luna is going out of business. Why don't you have that same feeling?
Because Amazon's new CEO came and said, we're back in gaming to the hilt. Have we heard I don't want to say his name because I absolutely butcher names. I think a lot of people actually don't know this about me. Even though I've got a big, massive gob, I actually struggle talking because I really struggle getting my words out and pronouncing all these words. So when I butcher people's names, it is not on purpose. We do not see Google coming out here and backing Stadia. What we just see is Stadia being Stadia. So that is why I am extremely, extremely concerned. What happened over the last couple of months when Bethesda was announced for Microsoft? Who came out and actually said, this is brilliant news, we're welcoming them to the family? It wasn't just Phil Spencer. It was, again, the head of Microsoft for saying that. For me, Google are not committed to Stadia. It is not. Stadia themselves are doing an interesting job. I do not doubt anybody in Stadia is trying to push that further, but I think that Google themselves are hamstringing Stadia. Okay,
so let me ask you this. So let's try to make some sense out of this. Actually, I want to make some sense out of it, right? So let's say you and I are friends, right? And you're the CEO of Amazon, and I'm the CEO of Stadia, right? And you say, and we're friends, right? So what advice could you give me if I got a new platform, you got a new platform, you said, listen, we're going to make our own games. We said, damn it, Duncan, we're going to make our own games. You say, hey, bro, we made a game before you did. I know you guys got some games that's going to come out in the future, but we made a game and the people was not happy. And we just wasted a lot of money on that game. Now, granted, we thought it was going to be great. It wasn't well receptive. So I'm just telling you, you guys already got a low player base. You could go ahead and try to make your games if you want. But these people, the gaming industry is cutthroat. So you could potentially make that game like we did, and that game might fail. So I'm just saying, maybe you might want to rethink making your game. Do you not even consider that making sense to a Stadia that has a low player base?
Then you're not looking at the big picture. What is going to happen here in 6 months' time when Xbox drops in their 4K and they're buying their games? Who is going to play on Stadia with the low player base, the low multiplayer, and nothing to draw them to the platform? Yes, we have some of these features coming, but they're getting implemented in absolutely strange ways and into the wrong games. Like state share on Hitman 3. What was the point in that? That was absolutely... I just still do not understand why that game was chosen. And then we had the Stadia exclusive game in Pixel Junk Raiders, which we are... I think it's a Marmite game. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate that game. Then the absolute mind-boggling one for me at this moment in time is what game is coming in about a week and a half, which everybody's going to jump onto from the Stadia community.
What, Outriders?
Outriders. Where's Stadia's marketing in that? Are they wanting people to play Outriders on Stadia? Right. How many people have forgot that Outriders has got Stream Connect on it, which is a big, massive selling feature of it, and they are not out there advertising. What? Come play this on Stadia. Your $60 is worth it on Stadia because you've got the
right. So here, two things, right? One thing is, I like to give credit where credit is due. So I watched Clive's video from Monday. Not sure if you've seen it. Now, one thing he said was really, really good, and I wonder if you take this in consideration. He said he looked at the cloud gaming space or video game space, right? Video game space as boxers, right? And heavyweight divisions, whatever, right? So he said that people are looking at it wrong because they're like, you made an example. You said if PlayStation was to close down their studios, PlayStation's been out for so long. Yes, if PlayStation closed down their studios, we would be like, what? But for a new company that's been around for little over a year, decide, you know what? Let's not spend money on making games. That, to me, that makes a lot of sense. Now, yes, a smoking gun is if their PlayStation said, listen, we can't make another God of War, I'd be like, what? That would get my attention. So why do you feel that? Why do you not look at it that way? That, you know what? Or let me ask you this: do you think it was smart at all for Stadia to cancel their Stadia Games and Entertainment?
I think it was an absolute number one one of their many, many mistakes. You're going to use your boxing analogy. Can anybody remember what Stadia came out with for their coming out party? Can you remember what they came out with?
What, like
we are more powerful than the Xbox One X and the PlayStation 4 Pro combined. Where does that place yourselves in that market? Are you coming out to be into the heavyweight division if you're coming out with that sort of statement?
Right. Yeah, sure. But here's the thing, though. I think so this is my thing. I put a post up not that long ago. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but I said there are people, and I personally think you're one of these people. You spend more time worrying about what Google marketing or what Google's talking about than playing the games, right? So either A, you want to get a job with Google and you want to help them be a better marketer, or B, you want to be a gamer and play games. So I feel like you're allowing Google, like, okay, here's my thing. I got into this because the tech was good, right? I go on a lot of vacations and I don't want to drag my PlayStation, so I could just take my folding phone and I could go to a hotel with a controller and there you go, right? So for me, if it works and I'm getting games, is doing two good things. Listen, I don't know how old you are, but I grew up. I'll be 45 next month, right?
I'm just you don't look it. I'm just a wee bit younger than you.
Thank you. But listen, so you get what I'm about to say is most of my gaming life was, if you didn't look in a Game Informer magazine, or if you didn't go to Electronics Boutique and say, hey, when's the game coming out? Most of the time it said to be announced. You didn't know. I wasn't privy to the maybe last 10, 15 years where I need Stadia or Destiny or Bungie. I need them to let me know what's going on this summer. I want to know when I'm getting this and that. So for me, I feel like, man, it's too many crybabies, man. Like, if the tech is working and if the games are coming and the games are still coming, all right, I'll give you this. If Outriders, which is going to be on everything, which is going to be on xCloud, right? If Stadia wasn't getting a game like that, they was like, well, Stadia's not getting it at all. They dropped, like, that's kind of like a more like, oh wow, Stadia's not getting games.
Actually, if you go back, and this is on record many places, and I hate the word receipts and all that sort of carry on that.
Yeah, I agree.
Because that means if you're keeping receipts of everything everybody is saying, that means you're saying that people can't change their opinions.
I agree.
If you go back and have a look what I said about Outriders, I came out and I gave Stadia a load of props. If you remember that Outriders was not meant to be coming day to date, but they said it was coming after, I said absolutely brilliant. I prefer that than head in the sand and not actually say anything. Regarding, I don't play games. What do you think I'm doing when I'm tweeting? I am actually in the middle of cutscenes or something when I'm tweeting. I am playing an absolute stack of games. I got here. I'll just drop this in here. Today, I just got my 1,000 gamer score on a game, and I'm nearly finished another game, and I've just kicked off another game as well. I play an absolute ton of games, and for Kelly, it's pretty annoying, but we do play Fortnite and all together. I am playing games. I think that this statement has came out because I haven't been playing under One to Escape on Stadia. There has been a lot of talk that I am not playing any games on Stadia and all this. There is a reason why I'm not playing under One to Escape on Stadia. I have a separate Stadia account now because of our interesting messages. This is over voice I have been getting on Stadia. So I've had to make an anonymous account to play games on Stadia.
Wow. Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
There is also other stuff as well, which I am not actually going to air because I don't want to give that oxygen. But it is absolutely mad that people are saying, and I'm not playing any games at all. And it's just, I just find it funny.
Let me just reiterate. I said I feel you spend more time worrying about what Google's doing than playing games, is what I said. So if you was you're very vocal and you're very verbal, right? So think about it. People, anytime we say something, like you said, receipts, people could take that and say, well, you said this. Well, if I only hear you talk about Stadia's dying and why,
but that's the exact problem. People only pick up on the negative, for me, which is probably my own fault, which I completely and utterly accept. If you go back and watch a couple of episodes ago on, I think it was, when was Hitman due to come? It was beginning January. It was the week before Hitman was to come on the CGX podcast. You could hear me do one of my big massive rants on how excited I am about state share and how this could be absolutely groundbreaking on and really make Stadia shine. And guess what happened? It was half-assed again, as a lot of the things are with Stadia.
But here's my thing. Again, what Stadia is doing is new. Okay, so let's say there are features that you're not going to get any.
But it isn't new. What would you do if I told you I was playing Stream Connect 10 years ago? You would go, no, Duncan, you're absolutely lying. That is old tech from OnLive. OnLive was doing that 10 years ago, and in many respects, bar the obviously jump in performance, OnLive is still is more cloud-like and more advanced than Stadia with a number of their features they had.
Right. But this is the thing. Stadia is still new. Like, here's the thing. You personally, get upset. Again, you just said it. You was waiting for Hitman. You was waiting for the feature to come out. It came out and it was crap. And like, do you feel like when I listen to a lot of guys, the yes men, you guys are going to be like superheroes or supervillains to me. But when I hear the yes men speak, I feel like you guys feel like Stadia personally owes you something, and you're so upset that you didn't get a certain thing your way, right?
Yeah, again, I think you don't listen to us when we're actually going through all the platforms. We sing the praises, we say the negatives. If you go back 2 weeks ago, we were absolutely slamming, or maybe not absolutely. We were getting stuck into GeForce Now because they had an absolute mediocre and poor week. And to reflect on that poor week for GeForce Now would have been a outstanding week in Stadia land, but with the amount of games and stuff go on. Every platform has different levels attached to it, and again, we get stuck into all of them, to be fair, and we also sing the praises when things are going good. We will be singing the praises. Like tonight, we will probably be singing the praises of Stadia about getting FIFA onto the platform and how good of a port it is.
Yeah. Well, but you do get that GeForce Now allows you to play your existing games you had forever. So I mean, they're not, they the library that you could have on there is going to be definitely, pretty vast. Like, that's I mean,
Yeah, GeForce Now library is fast, and that is a big, massive, massive point about this. Is that is what Stadia is competing against? It's competing against GeForce Now. It's competing against Luna. Again, I don't think Luna is moving fast enough about getting the games onto the service, but I think Luna is games they are picking. There seems to be actual thought going into the games, and not let's just bring everything online or just trying to bring everything across.
Yeah. So I did. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
I don't know what I was going to say. This is the thing. I just spit everything out when I say it.
Listen, I love it, man. Listen, but I want to ask you about the Luna thing because that's on my list. So I've heard you say how you really like Luna and stuff like that, but Luna's not in your country, right?
I said I'm looking forward to Luna when it is coming because I'm a massive fan of subscription models, and with subscription models and gaming, that goes hand in hand. The reason being, as we can see with Stadia, what Stadia's big benefit, you can just jump into a game and go, you're playing it. Now figure that out and say you're now doing this in a subscription and you've got all them games going at once. This is why this is what is really, really exciting for me in regards
with
to
Luna.
that, with Luna.
So here, couldn't wait to talk to you about this. So here's the thing. If you ask me, right, Duncan, Anthony, what's your favorite game?
Anthony, what is your favorite game?
Damn it, Duncan, I'm a Marvel Avengers fan. Can I play that on Luna?
No, you can't.
All right. So here's my thing. I don't get when people compare. I feel like when people compare Luna and Stadia, what they should compare is Pro versus Luna, because there's a level to. This is why I feel like, and this isn't about like me, but this is why I feel like Stadia has a one up. Right now, me personally, I feel like xCloud is coming. If they get it together, xCloud is coming. But with me and Luna, it's like, okay, Luna's a subscription model, okay, which is cool. Everybody wanted the Netflix of games, right? Well, there you go. But if I can't, for me, I'm a Marvel Avengers fan. So Luna, I will have to say, okay, let me scroll through their library, just like Pro, Stadia Pro. You might say Luna has better games than Pro. Yeah, we could. That's all subjective. But if we had Dan on here, X2I, Luna has has Sonic on there, so he might pick that. But for me, it's like, okay, well, I can't get Cyberpunk. Can I get Outriders on Luna? Everybody's going to have Outriders. So I feel like, how does Luna, and again, it's subjective, right? But for me, Luna can't, and other services can't jump over Stadia yet until you allow me to buy games. Because if I can't buy my own game, then I'm going to be stuck in your ecosystem. And it's kind of like PlayStation. Imagine if tomorrow Sony said, we're no longer allowing you to buy games, but PlayStation Plus, you'll have to get the games on there. That would be an outrage.
Yes, but different subscription model. It's a different model, so you know what you're buying into there. And again, with Luna, we have seen over the last couple of weeks that they are going to be allowing you to buy DLC. I am telling you now, they are going to allow you to buy games when you leave their subscription. It is absolutely on the cards, and I would say buying games is going to be on the cards as well. But they have learned, and yet this is going to be a two-parter here. They have learned from Stadia. Absolutely fair play to Stadia to coming out here to trying to kick off the cloud revolution again. But Luna has sat back smartly and let Stadia make all the mistakes and listen to the gaming market and the gamers themselves. And that is it. And what has happened is, I think we're both reasonably in the same ballpark here. And what has happened here is Luna is just ticking along grand, and the beta, I know that is going to annoy a hell of a lot of people, the beta.
Right, because it's not free.
Yeah, it's not free. Again, I have no problem with that, but I know some people do. Again, that's all subjective and your own thing. But that beta tag is absolutely saving them. And what's saving xCloud at the moment as well? Beta.
I agree.
This was one. If you ask me what was Stadia's number one problem from the get-go, there was no beta tag on it, and they just went straight in, and that is what generated all this bad press and hate towards them. And they were going after. They positioned themselves as a console killer. Everybody else is not positioning themselves as a console killer.
Well, here's the thing. You said Luna's sitting back watching Stadia's mistakes, right? And so they're like, hey, let's not do this, let's not do that. Why don't you think Stadia watched Luna's mistake trying to make games? And that's why they decided to get rid of their Stadia studios. How come you don't see that?
Because first party is going to be important. When we get into the cloud wars, which we have already started, and again, we've just seen Tencent have just got another patent, which is going to be very interesting. It's, again, patents don't mean anything. They too come true. They don't always come to true or don't always come follow through. It is going to become like what we have now with Netflix, we've got with Amazon Prime, we've got with Hulu, we've got from HBO. It is all going to be about exclusive content. And what way do you get exclusive content? You build up your first-party studios. How are people on Stadia going to play the next Doom?
Either they won't, or either they will. But let me ask you this. How is somebody on PlayStation going to play the next Halo?
They can play that through their browser in the next couple of months.
So here's the thing. Go ahead.
Yes, I know where you're going to go with this. That means you can play Stadia anywhere and you can jump onto Stadia. But what's the compelling reason
what I'm
to
saying
play?
is you're saying exclusive, but there's always going to be exclusives, right? So there's always going to be a game that you cannot play unless you purchase or join something, right? Like you just said, God of War. But you make me a perfect example. You said God of War is your favorite game you're playing right now. Well, you ain't playing it on Stadia. You ain't playing on Luna. You ain't playing on Xbox, Nintendo, GeForce Now, nothing.
Exactly. That's the exact point. And we're actually starting to see that in the Stadia community as well. The Stadia community, Stadia within the community has relit a number of gamers' fires, and they have got them back into playing games. Would that be a fair point?
I think so, yeah.
It's a fair point. So if what I am seeing out there, and I'm not sure if anybody else is seeing it out there, a number within the Stadia community, and I'm not even counting Stadia creators in this, I'm just talking the general Stadia community as a whole. They are going out and buying Xboxes and PlayStations. What happens there? They are into that ecosystem, and they are going to have hooks in that ecosystem because they're going to have the exclusive games. And they're going to build up their friends list and that, and they're going to build up their library of games and that. And then you're looking and then you're looking at Stadia and going, why should I go and play on Stadia here?
Could I jump in there? So
of course,
a few weeks ago, when Outriders came out, the demo, I said, let me download it. I got to check it out. Want to see what it's about. 3 things I love in a game. If you make a third-person game that's multiplayer with superpowers, you got me. That's why I like Marvel Avengers. I booted up my PlayStation. And you know what happened? I had to wait for that download. And it made me say, you know what, man? I'll tell you this much. If Stadia do go out of business, because Stadia is my favorite platform of choice right now, I'm going to another cloud service. Like I couldn't go back to the consoles because I got I for my Xbox, I got a external hard drive, 2 terabytes. I got 2 terabyte external hard drive for my PlayStation. I got 2 PlayStations. Like these are, for me, these are old ways that Stadia allow me to it's a difference. So for me, if I bought a PlayStation 5 and I got I'm building up my library, as you say, I'm gonna be like, damn, I'm out of space. Trust me. There's gonna be some moments where you reflect and be like, man, Stadia solved that issue. You gotta agree, right?
Yes, and after that half an hour after the game's downloaded, it's like, okay, I'm back playing now.
True. And then when that,
I'm just going to add this in here. I know
I
there's
agree.
been a lot of this talk about internet and the convenience of it. Unfortunately, we're living. It's really ironic at times. Stadia works better if you've got a faster connection and all that
Correct.
jazz. I know. I'm just talking generally. I know you have to be closer to the different nodes and all that.
You're right.
The faster your internet, the better it is, more or less. And perversely, that means you can download the games quicker if you've got another console. So this sort of talk about, I wish you could just jump in. I know a lot of people who have made that jump have just realized, I can just have these updates going overnight and having the things in sleep mode. Yes, it is an absolute pain, but the biggest one for me, again, I'm honest with this here, my number one isn't the downloading, it's the storage space. The storage space is the number one issue.
It's going to cost you. It's not going to cost you time. It's going to cost you money.
It's the time. The time is minute in my experience, but again, people don't have my internet. Everybody's internet set. I'm on a gig here at this moment in time. I've got the downloads for me are not much of an issue. It is the storage space because that is more annoyance. But I'm going to come back. Xbox are going to be on the money in this. I know people make fun of me if my Stadia is going to be why. Again, I'm not saying Stadia is going to be moved into maybe YouTube gaming and stuff. I think Stadia itself is going, just to make that clear, and because I think that was maybe misinterpreted as well. And I think a number of people have said that as well. They can maybe see Stadia, the brand, getting done.
Right, the white label and all that stuff.
That is what I'm talking about, which I'm saying 6 months to a year. My 6 months to a year prediction for Microsoft is you will be able to just download and play your games through xCloud on your actual console. So they're going to do that. And my firm belief, as soon as the Xbox Series S was announced, that is going to be, it's going to be
do you mean remote play? You mean are you saying that?
No, you can do that at the moment. I do that all the time. And that is...
but you said what you're saying is you think they're going to allow you, kind of like a GeForce Now scenario. Like if you already bought the game on Xbox, they're going to allow you to be able to use that game in the cloud.
Yes, I think that is coming. Phil Spencer's already said that. No, what I'm meaning is if you're playing on your Xbox, you won't need to download the game. You can just jump in and just use xCloud to do it on your Xbox. So they're going to go the hybrid model where they're going to. That is what I think they're going to do, and I think PlayStation are going to do the same as well. They're going to wing the hardcore onto the cloud via that.
Right. Yeah. So let me just make clear, because some people probably are listening, and then I want to go into the comments because I've been missing a bunch of comments. I just want to read a couple comments, but just to make clear, your 6 months to a year is Stadia's dead or Stadia's turning into something else? I just want to make sure. Stadia
is dead, as in Stadia, the brand, is dead. It will be moved into like YouTube gaming or something along them lines. Again, or go full into white label. Stadia, as we know now, my opinion, it is gone in 6 months to a year.
So I mean, you're just saying the name Stadia is going. That's what you're saying? Because that's really not saying, like me personally, YouTube gaming, if I was them, I'm doing YouTube gaming in 6 months to a year personally, because it would make more sense. More people know what YouTube is. If you click on your YouTube and there's a button that says YouTube gaming, people are like, what is a Stadia? But if you read YouTube gaming, you'd be like, oh, YouTube does gaming. It would make sense.
Yes, it is that sort of thing, but I think it'll be completely anotherly rebranded. It is going to be completely gone if they do that. And I would not, but my feeling, it is going to lend itself more into Take-Two Cloud or EA Cloud rather than YouTube. I think YouTube gaming has a good possibility, but I think their main goal is going to be getting the Activision games onto cloud or EA games on the cloud, the big massive publishers, because that is where we're going.
You mean for them to have their own, like Luna has their own channel, or you mean just have their games?
You won't even know it's on Stadia. It will be Take-Two Cloud, and you want to play GTA now, you click the button and you play it, and you don't see Stadia anywhere near it,
But
you're
you see
going.
YouTube. But you see YouTube gaming. You click on the YouTube gaming button.
I think there's a possibility of that, but it'll be more indie offerings that we've got on Stadia at this moment in time.
So you do realize that you just pretty much said you don't think Stadia is dying in 6 months a year, because if just the name, you know, if you just think the name, what you really are saying is in 6 months to a year, Stadia is going to change their name.
No, and again, I said Stadia as we know it is dead. It is just going to move on.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, if I change my name, if I change my if my wife decided to change her name to Lewis, which is my last name, then her last name would no longer be what it was. But she didn't die. She's still her. She just changed her last name. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. No, here's the thing. It's all about semantics and how people say things. For me, if Stadia's name is gone, that is it. It is dead. They are redoing it and chucking it in. It is not going to be part of the Google graveyard. I think it is going to be. Reading the statement that Stadia put out when they closed Stadia Games and Entertainment, my leaning is more they're going to try and go the white label market rather than the YouTube gaming market. If that's my own personal opinion. But I can say that they could do the YouTube gaming as well. Yeah. But it is Stadia itself. Stadia, as in Stadia, for me, it is the 6 months.
As in the name.
The name, yes. All right. Stadia, as in the technology, that is going to live on for a long time. Again,
they couldn't get rid of that. It's too good.
It is good. I think everybody will give it props that it is a great tech. Is it the best now? Yeah. We have to have a good wee test of what's coming up in the next couple of weeks. But I think
I hear PlayStation Now is getting pretty good. That's the word on the street.
That's the word on the street. And again, with GeForce Now and Luna itself as well, you can actually tweak your gameplay and your video settings, etc. Yeah. And as we see with some of the screenshots which have been put out by like Gamer TV and Cloud Gaming Extreme, you can actually get a better quality on GeForce Now and on Luna if you go for the 1080 but have everything spec'd up compared to Stadia's 4K.
So you want to jump into some of these comments, see what some people got to say?
Yeah, I just want to go into one. I will never condemn anybody where they are going to play. If they want to play on their phone, they can play it on their phone. I'm not a snob about where people play. I play on absolutely everything going, and I know a lot of people do that as well.
Yeah, I primarily play on my laptop. But I'm looking forward to the backbone Android, and hopefully it can fit my phone, because then I will probably play a lot more. I won't play more on my phone but there's a lot of times where I'm just sitting in bed, and sometimes I'm too lazy to get my laptop and sit on my lap. So I probably would, that'd be a good alternative for me.
I have finally invested in a Kishi.
Really? I would love to, man. My phone, look at my phone. This thing is 7.3 inches. It's a small phone that turns to a tablet. Kishi can't fit it.
The Kishi is a game changer for me. I'm an Apple ecosystem, and I finally decided just to break down and get one, and it is absolutely game changing for me.
Are you familiar with the game, sir?
I'm not. It's
just like the Kishi. It's just like the Kishi, but I ordered that. The problem is it has Nintendo button configuration, so the face buttons are off. So I'm like, I tried it. I did a review on it, but I'm like, when I press A, I want A to be A. When I press X, I want X to be X.
Yeah. When I'm playing on the Kishi, it reminds me of a Switch, and I keep on hitting. I always get these key, the OK key, and I forget what it is. Again, I'm just stupid at times. I keep on getting the Xbox and the
Nintendo
ones things. When I'm trying to run about when I'm playing it, I keep on hitting the wrong button because it's because I'm thinking I'm playing on the Switch. But the controller itself is absolutely amazing. Like I said, it is game changing for me.
That's pretty cool. Let's see. Sorry that we can't get to everything, guys, but I appreciate you guys watching. Let me see. Cherry Gaming Man said, I mean, I see Duncan is hard on Stadia, giving up your first party on the other parts of the company. All right, yeah, I see that. Let's see. Ray said that was just about people watching. Let's see. Let's see. I apologize, guys, but should have had a better way to get to these comments. I know a lot of people want to ask you questions, but I want to ask my own questions. Let's see. Cloud Station TV said, I think I've had less than an hour to play and finish Jedi Fallen Order for the likes 3 weeks. All right, that has nothing to do with this. All right, so here we go. Rock said, wow, that's awful. You may not have the same opinion as Duncan, but at least he has the courage of his conviction. I've never known him be anything but honest and caring to others' feelings. So sad. Oh, so sad that. Yeah, I mean, listen, I personally admired you when I was on Stadia Source, and I think you was a guest or something. You know, I like that you speak your mind. I like people that's more showman. You know, like I say, you captivate the room. So and you might not do it on purpose, but because you're being you. So I think that is definitely something to be said. But let's see. Rock said, my issue was not with CGX. It was with some of the P-brain who was trolling Stadia in the chat and went unchecked. I was then singled out as a sign freedom of speech. I left Twitter for a few days. Yeah, I mean, listen, here's my thing. I feel like this. You know, people in their freedom of speech, people are going to say whatever they want. Me personally, I'm kind of new to Twitter. I only joined Twitter because it seems that cloud gamers love to speak on Twitter. So that's the way I contact people. But me, I just feel like it's this. I made a statement. There's things you're going to love, so love it. There's things you're going to hate, then leave it, right? Like, so I feel like everybody's super vocal. Let me ask you this, because you know, I know we're getting close to an hour, but do you feel that sometimes you could just not say something? Like sometimes people feel that you bash Stadia, right? Do you think sometimes you could just read something and say, you know what, I'm gonna let this ride today? Or you feel like you have to make a comment, you know?
You wouldn't believe how,
because I'm pretty sure, do you feel that your comment is going to be polarizing and it might get people in the uproar?
There's sometimes I'm going to give you a perfect example.
I can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Let me see. I don't know why. Can you guys hear Duncan? Oh, wait, I can check myself. Hold on, Duncan. All right, say something.
Oh, hello. Can you hear me now?
Say something now.
Something now.
Okay.
Or is it? Oh, it's. I think I heard myself, which
yeah,
I
no,
absolutely.
That's
You wouldn't believe how many times I actually stopped myself saying stuff on Twitter. I'm going to give you an example how I put out a completely and utterly innocent comment a couple of weeks ago. A game came to Stadia. It has just went out from my head. It was that Dark Souls-y type one, which was the hack and slash. And I just asked, what is the price in the US store? That was it. There was nothing there. I was in the middle of writing it up because it just came out from nowhere, like a typical Stadia thing, where they just dropped the game without telling anybody. So I was just trying to get the US price, and I was attacked on Twitter for asking the price. That is some of the stuff I'm dealing with out there. It is just really, really funny at times. Everybody is thinking I am saying negative stuff when I'm just asking or just speaking normal, and they jump into things without doing things or not reading the whole comments. What I would say about Twitter as well, I have blocked a load of people on Twitter. Again, I've sort of touched on some of the issues I've been having on there. I may have blocked people just accidentally, and they weren't actually being too bad, but something happened a number of weeks ago, and it was the final straw. And It was. I'm just blocking people now. If you've got blocked, I'm sorry. If you really want to be unblocked, you can let me. You can try and let me know in the chat or somewhere. I will. I will give you another shot and whatnot. I'm not here to censor people's ideas or anything like that. I want the good, the bad, and the ugly all out there. I'm just one of these people. I just want to see it all, and I could talk about a number of positive things on Stadia, and I have talked positively on Stadia before. And again, it's as Dave said in the chat there, it is just the negative things seem to stick with me, and I have that reputation now, which again, I'm big enough and ugly enough to deal with that. But again, I think I wasn't going to bring this up, but it's me.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Are you aware of the SDF?
No.
The Stadia Defense Force. The Stadia Defense Force at this moment in time is doing more harm than good, in my opinion. They are jumping down the throats of anybody who is saying anything negative, and they are not debating it properly. Right. And I'm not going to again. What happened a couple of weeks ago with that journalist who has been? Are you aware about the journalist being attacked by Stadia people?
No.
There was a journalist who reported on some of the Stadia goings on, and he was attacked, and some emails and stuff were sent to him. This is getting Stadia the reputation of a negative. A very, very negative reputation out there, and it is being picked up on articles. And I have shared an article to a couple of people, and Stadia's reputation is really, really tarnished because of these incidents where if anything's negative is said about Stadia, people are just jumping on it straight away. I think people are going to need to calm this down, and not everything is a hit piece on Stadia. There is genuine concerns out there about Stadia,
right?
But there is Stadia's reputation, and the Stadia community reputation is getting battered out there because of that. And I can share the article with you now if you want.
No, yeah. So I feel like this, right? It's the same thing with politics. You have people who are, let's just say, Democrat, or we're not going to get into this, but there's people on different sides of politics, and they may go out and do something, but they're doing it in they feel so strong into a certain thing that they go out there and do something crazy. But I would never put that on, like Stadia didn't come out and say, hey, go beat up a journalist, right? So that's just and hold on real quick. We have to, when we think of Stadia community, right? It's so weird when you think of it, right? For us, right? I know you, I know Avery, I know Clive, right? If you think of our little small group of people that we see always in our videos, they show up to, whatever we do, right? We got, some people watching right now, but I guarantee there's communities within Stadia that have no clue who we are, right? We can't just be like 40 people, right? So I'm always been an individual, right? People sometimes don't like me because I feel like a lot of things are isolated incidents, right? So it's like you get up and get mad and slap somebody, but because you know me, they want to put me in it. I'm like, whoa, Duncan's my friend, but he did that. But we often group everybody into the same hole. And I feel like I'm
definitely not grouping everybody into that. I'm just saying the Stadia's community has now got the. I don't want to say it. Okay, I will say it because I'm saying this. Stadia has got its fanatics out there now, just like Xbox has their fanatics and PlayStation has their fanatics, and they are doing a lot of harm at this moment in time to Stadia as a brand and within the media as well. Again, there is an article out there which I've came across today, and Stadia's community is not coming out great in it, and it's just really, it's very damaging, and I don't want to put it out there because I'm scared of what might happen to the journalist who has wrote it, and the website as well. but this is a major-ish sort of gaming website has published this article, and it's quite damning in that way. So I'm just saying, there seems to be a lot of people thinking that there's a witch hunt against Stadia. Yes, there is going to be people who have got a vendetta against Stadia, but there is also articles out there which have absolutely no vendetta against Stadia at all. And people are jumping on, oh, they're just doing clickbait, they're just saying this, they're just saying that. And then honestly, they're not. They're just reporting on things and how they see it. And as we see, everybody sees things different.
Yeah, true. But think about it, right? So when Stadia first came about, like, again, I was a PlayStation guy. I was once an Xbox guy. I was most recently a PlayStation guy, right? Man, I was the only one of my friends. Actually, it was me and two other guys. One guy was like, I don't know about the Stadia thing, but he's kind of like, if you guys are going to get into it, I'm going to get into it so we can all play together, right? So, but man, all my other friends, oh, that's terrible. It's not going to work. It ain't, I'm here making videos, right? And I'm their friend. I'm like, dude, I've made multiple videos showing it works. But they see a video on YouTube and be like, oh, I seen a video. It's trash. I'm like, but so there definitely is a side, like, you can't say that there's not people who are vindictive and just want to see it fail. And it's just like everything. You got your diehard PlayStation guys that want to see Xbox fail. I just feel like now there's a new, the cloud gamers are the new people to hate. When console people hated PC, now you got the cloud gamers. But at the end of the day, I feel like there's good and bad on both sides. Now, for instance, right? I'm not putting me in there, but look at the Stadia Bash Community Network. There's a group of people. They got like 35 people now, and just trying to get people who want to stream the game and talk about Stadia and just have fun, right? So, I mean, there's bad people out there, and there's also good people out there. But I agree. If there's a story and it's being covered that somebody got attacked, that's not cool. Yeah, but that doesn't represent the community.
Yep. What you're doing there is absolutely amazing there. And it's great to see that with the Stadia Bash community. And we've got a couple of people in here like Ray. We've got Sammy as well. I'm probably forgetting a load of people here because my head's like a sieve.
Oh, yeah.
But I think the problem is that, and this isn't just a gaming issue, this is a worldwide issue. As you sort of implied earlier about the right and the left, there is the gray area is completely and utterly gone. You cannot have things in the middle. For me, I know this is going to be absolutely shocking to people, but I am actually more in the gray area with a lot of things. I see the good and the bad, but because I'm saying a bit of the bad, or in some people's cases, a lot of the bad in things, I am painted as a complete another hater of Stadia, and I wanted to feel now, and all this sort of carry on.
Could we be fair, right? I hear you, so I'm glad you cleared, because I never knew. So I'm glad you cleared it up that you said 6 months to a year, right? So that's fair, right? You gave a range, right? It could be a drastic, oh my God, 6 months from now, or I guess we're probably getting 4 months from now, but whatever, we'll say 6 months, right? But you gotta admit, you're on a platform with passionate people, and you was pro that platform, right? You're pro Stadia at some point, and then you go on record and say 6 months to a year, it's gonna be dead. The word dead is nothing positive about dead, right? Dead is, dead is not subjective. Well, dead, I guess it could be subjective, but dead for the most part is not a good word. So you have to realize you kind of like, I don't want to say spit in the face of the people that kind of was watching you as you talk and develop and say, you like Stadia, you like cloud gaming. So, I mean, that's a bold statement, and you got to think this is why, people looked at you like, wait, what is going to be dead? And then you're an expressive person. So you try to back it up. You try to explain yourself, but people just hear, did he just say he was pro this and now he's saying it's died? And especially, to be honest, because the Stadia Entertainment, it went out of business. I feel like you agree that, you agree, or not that you agree, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but do you see what Amazon did with Crucible? They said, listen, this game ain't cutting it, so we just got to cut our loss, right? So I feel like if you're that hard on Stadia, why not be that hard on Luna? Now I agree. Down the road, right? They did say months after they closed, might you add, months after they closed Crucible, they said, hey, the new CEO said, hey, we're going to continue to make games. But what I'm saying is you have to realize that you made such a bold statement. And I feel like, yeah, some people might say, oh, is it going to die because of that? But if Stadia didn't come out and say, hey, we're dying, right? And I agree, you could probably say, well, they also didn't, a month before they announced the studio was going to die, was closing, people thought it was going on. But I feel like you have to realize you made such a bold statement, and to some people it might be a slap in the face. So I mean, you kind of got to take a little bit of that, like, oh man, people kind of look at me like I'm the crazy guy or something, you know? Yeah. What do you got to say about that?
Not the crazy guy, because
not the crazy guy. Sorry. The mean guy.
The mean guy, yes. I'll be frank with you here. I have had people message me and go on, I 100% agree with you, what you're saying, but I'm not going to come out and say it because I'm scared because of the reaction out there of can we just say the fanatics? Would that be the nice way of putting it?
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
This is, I'm not painting the whole Stadia community as that. It is the fanatics, and as we know, we've got fanatics on all the different platforms. Yeah. I think this is absolutely absolutely fair with that, and it's just people are scared out there to put opinions out there, right. Just with the society and stuff we are living in at the moment, because if you're not singing all sunshines and rainbows and spitting out fairy dust, you're going to get attacked. And I do think we've got a lot of people out there who are just, they've got their opinions, they're keeping them to them quietly, and for them, absolutely fair play to them, because they are building up, they're playing what the way they want to do it, and building up their audiences as well. And everybody does their own thing. I'm not one of these people who can fake it.
So the reason why I want to talk to you, because I feel like in a lot of ways we're similar. Some people say, oh, Anthony, don't say that. And I'll be honest, my channel's been around for 10 years, right? My channel isn't built off of cloud gaming. My channel isn't built off of gaming. I added gaming maybe 4 or 5 years ago, right? My biggest viewed video is a treadmill video. My product reviews do well, right? Not gaming. Gaming is fun. And my channel was a hobby for 9 years. A year ago, I said, let me make this something real. And, you know, I meet my goal 30 days later. Got monetized, right? But my thing is, so I'm not afraid of anybody in the chat, because guess what? I play games because I like them, but games don't run my channel, and you guys ain't going to run me off. I'm going to say what I want, right? That's just me. I'm not afraid of what anybody got to say, whether I can name drop, it doesn't matter, because I'm just going to be me, right? But so I appreciate you, like I said, keeping it real. I just feel like maybe sometimes people don't want to ask you certain questions because, listen, maybe it might be too real. Or maybe they don't want to burn bridges with you. Maybe they're like, oh, he might not have me on his show. Maybe he might, make a tweet about me and now people won't watch my show. But I could care less. So I wanted to say, let me ask the questions. Let me talk to you, because that stuff don't bother me. And I love it that we're two guys chopping it up. Listen, you ain't, this is the first time you and me had an actual verbal conversation, which is awesome. And I hope we continue to, because again, I appreciate you. I like what you stand for. We might not agree on everything like Stadia, but listen, Stadia is just a video games platform that we play at the end of the day, right? Exactly. So yeah. Stadia, if I woke up tomorrow to headline, Stadia is done, well, I guess I might just buy me an Xbox Series X. I don't know. Maybe I'll try GeForce now, because life is going to go on. So the fanatics, that might drive them crazy. Oh my God, did Anthony just say he would get something else? Well, guess what? If Stadia was going, what else I'm going to do? Because I'm a gamer. But these are conversations that's good to have. Glad that you're on here and you are keeping it real. One thing we did learn is you clarified that 6 months to a year. Some people was holding you to that 6 months. So 6 months came by, or 4 or whatever months we got left since you made that statement. They're gonna be like, See, I got you. You're gonna say, no, I'm glad that I was able to, because that's what I thought you said, right? So maybe I wasn't fully paying attention.
What I want to happen here, and I have said this before, and this hasn't been played out anywhere as well. I so want me to be wrong unless it is unreal. I want Stadia to live, thrive, and really push the boundaries, because what Stadia has there is they could have something special.
Right.
They really could, but it just feels like they're just getting hamstrung by Google. It just looks like they're not allowed to do anything. It's going all through legal. It's going through all this. They can't react. They can't do the things in the here and now, just like Microsoft, just like PlayStation. Nintendo, they're not Nintendo because Nintendo beat their own drummer. And
yeah, I agree.
And they can't compete because they don't have the first party library. But it's just really frustrating just watching Stadia just do things. Because if I was in charge of Stadia, I can't remember, is F1 2020 still on Pro? I'm not sure.
I didn't hear that it left yet, so it might still be. I'm not sure.
One of the biggest esports out there is F1 2020, and they have been doing absolutely amazing work. They've been getting F1 drivers on. I know this might be a bit boring for the American audience. F1 is a massive game, and they could be out there promoting that beyond belief. Drop some money, and that would get people to try F1. Or you can play F1 now. I've seen the stream. I want to play F1 now. Bang, and they could be in there playing it. And it's a pro game. I don't even have to buy the game. I could actually play it now. But they're not doing these sort of things at all. And like Outriders, they should be out there trying to sell us Outriders, because I know people, again, on Twitter have said, I was going to get this game on Stadia. And to be absolutely fair, there has been a lot of people who have said they're still getting the game on Stadia, but I have seen a lot of people drop off buying on Stadia because it's went to Xbox, because there's no need to sell that a bit better.
But let me ask you this. Do you feel like, so yeah, there's games coming out here, there's games coming here. So I agree. Me personally, I love marketing, right? You'll rarely ever catch me without my cowboy hat on, right? I built my own persona well before Stadia was a thing. I've been saying I'm a cowboy. That's just been me, right? I'm a wrestling fan. If you hear somebody say "Know your role and shut your mouth," they're gonna say that's the Rock's catchphrase, right? So I agree. I love marketing. What I do agree is that Stadia's marketing could be better. I feel like they need to do a better job at they started off where you could play anywhere, play anything, right? They need to do a better job at, if I know so many people is like, oh, I don't care about Stadia because I don't play on my phone. Like that's all they think. They need to do a better job of honing in that you can play it on your TV, right? Like it is the same exact thing as a console, because it can just be played on your TV if you don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the thing as well. I say things like this, and it is meant to take it as a joke, and a lot of people think I'm just dumping on Stadia. Just what I'm just going to say it, just like Xbox did this week. That is it, where they just absolutely banging sort of thing, explaining cloud gaming from word go, and that isn't me dumping on Stadia. And I just want Stadia to go out there and improve, because if you put, I'm going to say, 100 people who play on Stadia in a room, you'll go, the number one thing they need to really improve is their marketing and PR to get people out there playing.
Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to say, because Stadia's not paying me, not paying you, but we both agree that their marketing isn't the best, right? But we both agree that their tech is pretty good, right? So the thing is, do you feel, I mean, I don't want to put this on you, but do you feel because you're, so many people know who you are, so many people know you're a cloud guy, do you feel that you could potentially be a person who they might be in that gray area you talked about, right? But they might be like, do I want to go with another platform, or do I stay with Stadia? They hear you, and then they're, do you feel like you have a sense of, because I feel like you and a lot of people have that Google owes you something, right? Do you feel that you owe some of your viewers, that, you know, maybe you could be pushing them away to other platforms? Do you think you could be helping Stadia die?
It's not my job to promote Stadia.
I agree.
It's not your job to promote Stadia. It's not Stadia Dosage's job to promote Stadia. Right. It's not Rock's job to promote Stadia. It's not Cloud Gaming Extreme. It's not Stadia Source's job. I try and put things out as I see things, and if people, if people come up and ask me what do I think people should get at this moment in time, and I would say, if you're coming to me right now, what should I get at this moment in time? I would say, if you can get it, Xbox All Access. I think that is absolutely the thing you should get.
A Series X or a Series S, or just a Game Pass?
Whatever one they could afford to get. Okay. Because I know it's everybody's budget is different. Right. If their budget is extremely tight and they don't mind, quote unquote, losing games, as in if they buy games they may lose them, because I would be honest and say they've lost their first party studio. I'm not too sure about this, but if you're looking just to get into gaming now and just have a bit of fun, it would be Stadia would be my second choice there. But again, it's all perception, and everybody's thoughts would be different. I know a lot of people say they would recommend Stadia off the bat. Absolutely no problem at all. You can just jump in and play their games. But the hole in the library, and we'll have to be honest, the hole in the library is there. What is the most influence?
Here's my thing: I can't. So it's hard for me to hear you, right, and take it so serious, because if you back Luna, but don't back Stadia, and you say it's the hole in Stadia's library, but you can't even buy new games on Luna.
But then it's a completely different thing.
Let's talk about xCloud, right?
xCloud,
you can't buy games on xCloud. So talk about the hole in the library. Like, but that's a big hole.
But I'm not recommending xCloud. I'm recommending All Access, where you've got the best of both worlds.
Right.
At this moment in time, I would again, if we're just being completely honest here, I would probably at this moment in time, I'm just trying to work this out in my head.
I got you.
It would be split between Luna and, if you're based in the States, and Stadia, but if it all comes down to content at the end of the day,
right?
I think
it's 100% that person. Like, if let's say you want to get into gaming, right, and a budget, right, and Luna let's say you look at the libraries again. That's why I can't compare Luna to Stadia. I could compare Luna to Stadia Pro, because if I'm going to compare Luna fully to Stadia, it's impossible for Stadia to lose, because you could buy whatever, you could buy games, right? And there's some big titles. I mean, there are some big titles that you just aren't going to be able to get on Luna right now. That's why, for me, people say, like, I don't like Stadia's what do they say? I don't like the way Stadia's what they say, their model.
This is something which, again, we're going back to the marketing thing. They really need to get the model nailed, because everybody is confused about, or not everybody. Again, when I talk like everybody, I know some people mince me with the words, but that's how we talk over here. When we're saying everybody, it means basically
in general.
In general, yes, that's how we explain things. And I know all my words get interpreted about 1 million trillion ways, which again is part of my own fault, and I admit my own faults. That is Stadia's number one, or not number one issue, but we'll talk about it. The marketing issue is people are still unclear if you have to have a sub or not. Even in some of these good articles which are getting put out there by respected sources, to keep on mentioning about you require a subscription going there, and they really need to get that onto out there and really explain it to people, and to give Stadia their props. Over the last 2 or 3 weeks, they have been trying to change some of the articles out there and update them, which is like the first time in its lifetime that they've actually tried to get the articles changed to actually have all the facts there.
Listen, Well, so because facts is a big word. So here's me, right? I look at things in a lot of ways. I look at things like this. There are people who live off emotions, and there's people that live off logic. There are people who live off of opinions, and there's people who live off of fact, right? So there's a lot of opinions thrown around over fact. Like, all right, so Stadia Dosage News, right? He said the problem is the Stadia is dead, dying rhetoric leads to unsuspecting gamers astray. When in reality, think about it. Why are you buying or playing a platform about to die? So it's just like Stadia Vet, right? The other day he was on Stadia Source and he was like, man, I don't know, Stadia's dying because they keep coming out with games and I keep spending my money. So I feel like you got to think about it though.
Yeah, I have been on record about this.
Right.
And I have said I am not buying any more games on Stadia unless it is an absolute steal of the deal.
Gotcha.
And while I feel Stadia Pro is value for money. I have said that, and I know other people are thinking similar. Other people are buying completely in. And I do know there has been a number of people who have completely left Stadia because of the S&G sort of news as well. Yeah. I will use one of Chase's catchphrases. I'm not going to be forcing anybody's purchasing decisions on them. I just say it from where I am saying it, and I have said before that. And I'll say it again, if FIFA came onto the platform and it was under £15, that was my bite point for it, I would have probably have got it. Probably.
So but if you don't mind me asking, where are you buying your games? What platform are you playing your games on, if you don't mind?
What I'm playing my games on, okay, it's probably going to shock people here. It would be, at this moment in time, my number one platform would probably be on Xbox.
Okay.
My second platform, which is going to shock people here, is Stadia, then GFM, and then PlayStation, and then probably Switch.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. Let me ask you this: Can you somehow fathom to give me a number? Okay, 1 to 10 scale. 1 is not at all. 10 is extremely. How much? Or how likely is it that Stadia will die in your terms in 6 months to a year? Can because I'm curious, how much do you believe that? So can you get?
I am of the opinion on my terms, which is they're either going to completely rebrand,
right,
or just do a white label. I'm thinking an 8 or a 9.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, because you know what? Because again, that's just opinion. So we could agree that that's not fact, right? Yeah. You don't know no inside. Let me jack. You don't know inside information that we don't know that makes you think that, right? You just feel that Stadia Entertainment closing.
No comment.
Okay. All right. Well, this is called keeping it real, Duncan. I got you. Listen,
I have been given information of a couple of different people, which I cannot reveal.
I got you.
But it is, and I will be completely and utterly fair with this. It is not a smoking gun. It is just more. It's more.
It's like more. Go ahead. I'll let you say it.
Yeah. You were saying it probably better than me. It's just more evidence of where I think it is going to be going. Yeah. It could be confirmation bias. Like I think that is a lot of things out there on the positive and the negative things. We all have that. But for me, I have been given some information which I am not going to say. But I've also been given some positive information about Stadia as well, which I cannot say.
Right.
So,
but that still doesn't change your 9 to like that's that. Okay, I got you. Yeah.
8 to 9.
Now let me ask you this: do you have a problem with Stadia's business model?
No.
Okay, I'm just curious.
My feeling is yes, it's what they should be doing. It's a bit of both, but I think they should. I really do think they should probably do a proper subscription model, like a Game Pass model, and maybe tie that into Pro, because I think that would be less of a issue for a lot of people out there, because I think people are scared to. Again, when I'm saying this, it's some or a lot, depending what way you want to read it. There is people who are scared to actually buy games in Stadia. That is that, and when I'm talking about buying games on Stadia, I'm talking even before Stadia games and entertainment issues. They're just reluctant to buy games on Stadia because of Google. They're just worried about the Google graveyard, which we've already talked about, which is a bit of a miss because everything gets rounded into other things. There is that. So if they had a proper Game Pass type model like Luna, because I've said this before.
Let me ask you a quick question. What's different from Luna and Stadia Pro? Could you explain that for me?
There is nothing really. It is perception out there in the marketplace. Because if you explain Luna, how would you describe Luna?
I'll describe Luna as the Netflix of video games,
which is nice and easy to talk about. Stadia Pro isn't like the Netflix. You get your boost, you get added features on top of that, so it's a bit more of a harder sell. So if they had a subscription model going, if they expanded Stadia Pro out and just said this is now our subscription model, and they up that, sorry, that is one thing I would like them to change. Is if you buy a game on Stadia, you should automatically get it into 4K. I think that should be something they should be looking at. You should get the bonus. If you're paying $60 for a game, you should be able to play that in the best quality what that system has to.
So yeah, that's definitely something to talk about. But let's stick a little bit on this Luna and Pro. So think about it though, right? Look, and here's something a little critical, but Stadia Dosha says, why buy it at all? It's dying. You're just wasting your money. See, this is why the audio is not matching up with the visuals. Here's my thing. If you got Luna, and explain this to me because I don't really know, and technically you might not either because you don't have Luna, but that's a little dig. But does Luna games rotate?
Yes, I can explain this if you want. There's going to be over 100 games on Luna Plus when it finishes its beta program. There's no games going to be rotating out from Luna Plus while it is in beta. So yes, games will rotate, and as we've seen with what's the game called, Metro Exodus, right. You can now buy DLC for Luna. So what that's sort of leading me down the path, you'll be able to buy that game. So if Metro leaves, Luna, I think you'll be able to buy it like you can do with Game Pass. Again, when I'm talking about Game Pass, I'm not talking about Game Pass in the cloud.
I got you. Yeah.
See, this is the thing which it's a bit hard to wrap my head around and explain it right. In my view, Luna is going for a subscription model first, and you can buy games, while Stadia is going to be you can buy games and then have a subscription on top. Their priorities are slightly different at this time, and I think gamers prefer the Luna model, or they're less hostile for the Luna model at this moment in time. Because
Duncan, I'm sure you as an Xbox and PlayStation guy. Xbox and PlayStation never had a only subscription model. We would have been pissed off if we was PlayStation guys and you was only able to get a certain games in rotation and you couldn't buy God of War, or God of War was on there for 2 months, 3 months, whatever, and they switched it out. Like, you know what I'm saying? So here's my thing. If somebody said to you right now, Duncan, hey, you could pay money a month for a subscription, and every so often we're going to swap out games and swap in new games, right? Or you could pay money a month, and every month we're going to keep adding games, and we're never going to take away the games we add if you keep paying. Like, how? I don't.
You just don't understand this. This is why we are seeing all the acquisitions going on.
Right.
What games are going to leave Game Pass?
Right.
It is going to be the third-party games. Is Doom going to leave Game Pass?
We don't know yet.
Doom Eternal. The chances are it will not leave. And you've
look what PlayStation Now did. PlayStation Now, they added God of War. They had added Uncharted. They added a bunch of games, but they made it clear that this is only for 4 months. They did that a year ago, and then those games were gone. And those were exclusive games. So I don't know. I mean, Xbox seemed to be doing their own thing, but
Yeah,
We
but
don't.
but PlayStation now isn't doing the same thing as as Xbox. Xbox are building are buying all these people in to build up their Game Pass library, and the only games I can see leaving the Game Pass library belonging to Microsoft, and it has happened, is the Forza games because of the licensing issues with the music and such like. They are building up their games there, and their first party is going to stick there. And that is every game that comes out of Microsoft's first party is going to be on Game Pass. And that is why I'm not so worried about that. If you honestly, if you give me the option to buy games or just a subscription, it's going to be a mix of both. And I have said this in a number of places as well. That is going to be the way things are going to go. Just like, do you buy movies as well?
I don't anymore. No,
You don't. The subscription model's taken over for you.
Yeah. I go to the movies. So here's my thing. I'm a movie goer. I have the AMC pass, so I get to see before the AMC pass I had a Regal pass, but our Regal shut down. But I get unlimited movies, but AMC pass you get 3 movies you can see in a week. So me personally, I'm weird. Like I just watched Justice League again today because tomorrow later when I get off the thing with you, my wife go home, I'm be watching the 4-hour Snyder cut, and then I'm gonna review it tomorrow on the Big Mike Little Ant. Let's get a little plug for a podcast to do every other Sunday, 11:30 p.m. 11:30 a.m. Eastern. But anyway, so for me, I go to the movies, and then I typically don't watch a movie again because I'm always watching shows and movies. But listen, I don't buy movies at all because once I watch them, I'm kind of done. I feel like it's same thing with here's my gaming. All right, we're switching to gaming. I have GameFly. I don't know if you guys got GameFly where you're at.
We've got something similar. You can rent you rent the games and they come in through the post.
So this is what I do, right? I'm a multiplayer fan, right? I will buy a Destiny or a Marvel Avengers or a game that's live service or has friends you could play with, right? Because what happens to me is I buy God of War, I buy Uncharted 1, Uncharted 2, Devil May Cry, all these great games, and then I beat them and I never play them again because they don't have a multiplayer. So for me, I GameFly those games like Jedi Fallen Order. A lot of people love it. I'm not buying it. I'm going to GameFly it on my PlayStation. I'm going to play it. I'm going to beat it, and I'm sending it back. So that's me personally. Some people like those narrative games where it's a one player, so that's for them. But for me, that's my actual choice. Let me ask you this though. Stadia Doses wanted to throw in there that Stadia does have Game Pass model. It's called Ubisoft Plus. They just need to add more games. Do you have anything to say about that?
Yes, and that brings us to another issue with Stadia. Mm-hmm. Have you got access to it?
What? Oh yeah, yeah.
Do I have access to it?
Not yet.
And again, I'm just speaking from the UK's perspective
I got you.
Here. For me personally, there should be a UK someone over here. And to go back to Luna, it looks like they're going.
You know, I was going to bring that up. You don't have Luna at all.
Yeah. Yes, so. I know. Going back to Luna, it looks like they're going to be launching over here. And guess what they're doing? Or what Amazon Games are doing? They're hiring community managers all over the show for the UK. There needs to be a European presence for Stadia. I know myself and a number of others feel like we're second-class citizens over here. I know Andy Morph's got a hell of a lot of stick about the blog post about him. He was making a joke, and I think a lot of people didn't realize he was making the joke. I read it as a joke, asking about the UK price. That is something very, very small, which they could add to it, and they were adding it before, and it's dropped off. There's going to be probably more people over here in the UK or more Stadia gamers over here in the UK would be looking to FIFA price, and they could have dropped that in. It is just small, tiny things like that which could really help perceptions over here.
What I want to bring up though, right, is this is my own personal opinion. I don't know. What I've watched is that people are critical, right? If I say I don't like this movie, so many people are gonna bash me for it, right? Is on and like you said, there's some people that just keep that think Stadia is gonna die, but they haven't said anything. But guess what? Nobody's talking about them or having an issue because they kept their opinion to themselves. Now, here's the thing, right? I feel like when Stadia did good stuff, it was everywhere. You talking about marketing? There wasn't a Stadia person that didn't know about good stuff. But you know what happened? Good stuff came out, and I personally said they should have said there's going to be use one word, add mini. They should have said we're doing a 3-day mini event, right? But they said we're doing a 3-day event, all the glitz and glamour, and everybody talk about marketing. That's probably the best thing Stadia ever marketed. You know what happened? They got bashed for that hard.
Yeah, and if I remember back to that, Tom Warren got a lot of stick for ruining the good stuff.
True. That's true.
And guess what? It wasn't his fault. Guess who dropped out in the email who told everybody what games were coming? Have a guess. It's going to be no surprise. Stadia. I've got the email in my inbox where they named every single game what was coming as a demo, and he just named them, and he got a lot of stick, and it wasn't his fault because there was no embargo. He could just say what he wanted.
I mean, you know what? I guess that, listen, when you're a journalist, that's why sometimes I think differently of people, right? I'm a gamer first, right? I'm not a journalist at all. I love to talk games. I love to run my mouth. But if you guys, like, for instance, even I think of Avery, right? Him and I, we're very vocal. We don't see eye to eye sometimes. We laugh and joke, but he looks at things differently. I'm able to say, like my good friend Stadia Doses, MM2K told me, boot up or shut up. However, some guys are on the editorial side, right? So they look for information and they put out stories, right? So you're right. If you wasn't given an NDA and you could just say it, why would you wait? You want to break that news so everybody could, you could get the views or whatever, right? You want to break the story. Like, so I do understand that. They should have just not gave out that information at all. But yeah, that did shoot good stuff in the foot, because I feel like more people would have watched the 3-day mini event and be like, this kind of sucks. And at the end, and live starting right now is like they did with the Pac-Man and blah, blah, blah. But that is true. But again, my point is this, though. I almost feel like at this point, Stadia gets the redhead stepchild. It's almost better for them to say nothing or say less, because I feel like people got, like, for instance, even the, recently, oh, this is how much this costs in the UK or United States. And people like, why you didn't translate the money? I'm like, oh my God. Like, you can't say nothing right. You can't say nothing wrong.
With that, there's a lot of things playing into that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the Stadia sweepstakes they were doing?
No,
they were giving out the free games. Guess who was excluded there? Everybody bar the US. And I know people are going to say, oh, but there's licensing issues and all that sort of stuff. And I completely understand them points. But from an optics sort of perspective, it's just another, oh, we're being left out again. We're being left out again. For me, I can see why they're doing that. But I think people have got valid points and bringing up, oh, it's just a US only thing again. It's just a US only sort of thing. If they got a UK team in, it could be just one person and running Stadia UK, and that could do an absolute wonders. Or Stadia Europe, like there's PlayStation Europe, that could be just a European thing, and they could do contests there, and that would shut a lot of these complaints up.
So would you want to go on record to say part of your being a little extra critical to Stadia is because they don't have that much UK support?
No.
Okay, cool.
For Stadia, I've said this again in a lot of places. For Stadia's issues isn't just one thing. They're getting, it's like 1,000 cuts all over the show, and there's mistakes which happen time and time again, and it becomes funny. I do want to say this here. I'm going to put this on record. Please do not abuse the people on the Twitter account. I know people like making fun of the standard answers. I will say, please don't be doing that. That's if you're not muted, that is. But we'll go there.
Yeah.
But I know there's been a lot of sarcastic remarks and stuff like that. Though, like this is a bot. This is a bot.
Right.
I'm going to say don't be responded, because there is actually people on there, so don't be abusing there.
I agree. I mean, listen. I think we're definitely going to see what's going to happen in about a year, because you figure a year from now is a good enough time to see a lot of things happen. Let me ask you this. Do you ever see Call of Duty coming to Stadia?
I'm actually shocked it's not on the Stadia, and I think it's a Google issue again because of being in different silos. Last year, by this time last year, I would have bet money that Call of Duty would have been on Stadia. The last Call of Duty was going to be on Stadia because YouTube signed the marketing deal for the esports.
Right.
Does this not make sense? You would pay a wee bit more, even if it's a $20 million, which they've apparently been paying for ports. I said apparently. I'm putting that.
Right. I got you.
Yep. You would have paid that to get Call of Duty on there on the esports. Click a button, you can play Call of Duty now. That just made absolute marketing sense, and I was wrong, and I took a big loss in that. I said I thought Call of Duty was going to come, and I threw my hands up with that. There is a couple of telling places where we're going to find where Stadia is. Logo Gate, which yes, that was one coined by me. That is going to come apparent now again. Stadia need to get the logos out there. I know thinks they shouldn't. I am of the opinion they do, because if you get the logos on the games, it breeds confidence. And
like when it shows like coming to Stadia.
Yeah, it just says. Perfect example from, you've mentioned the game already, from a couple of weeks ago in Little Nightmares 2.
Right.
We didn't know that was coming day and date until a couple of days before, and it was coming to Pro. Coming to Pro, absolutely amazing. Can we agree with that?
Yeah.
However, what has happened there is people actually bought the game on a different platform and they couldn't get it refunded, and it was actually multiple people because they did not advertise that the game was coming. This is stuff they really need to do for me, is get the games out there to say it's coming. What? Just like Life is Strange coming, that is absolutely amazing. And again, I said this a couple of weeks ago when this all started. You are going to see games coming to Stadia this year because of our existing contracts in place. It is E3 time, as Charles has said, and another telling time is going to be the Game Developers Conference. If Stadia has a big presence there, we know they're meaning business. If it is a mediocre or not mediocre, if it is a small or none, I'm telling, that is going to be alarm bells for a lot of people in the community as well.
Right. Let me ask you this though. Because we like when I hear people say, how come that game isn't in 4K? Right? There's a developer that has to say, hey, we're going to do extra work so we can make that game in 4K because Stadia can handle it. So just in thinking of that, how much, like, okay, Stadia, Little Nightmares, it didn't say it was on Stadia. Like, who, like, I mean, we don't work for Google, we don't work for, but how much are you putting on Stadia? Like, you got to think there's certain there's a lot of stuff that's not Stadia's fault and it's somebody else's fault. Like, what do you have to say about that? Like
the quote unquote bad ports. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I mean, even like the branding, right? Like because I'm curious, why wouldn't Stadia say, hey, or why wouldn't a trailer have a Stadia logo? Like, is that all?
For me, that is all Stadia. If the developers tell them we're not going to put it on, that just shows you how weak Stadia is. It has to be a Stadia issue, or we'll not say a Stadia marketing idea that they're not going to have the label on it. Again, I do not mind if games coming. I'll go back to Outriders. Outriders was originally meant to come later to Stadia, and I have said absolutely, I'm fine with that. You've let us know that it's coming. I don't care about that. The only games I think really matter being day and date are hopefully this year in FIFA 2022 and Madden, and if we get Call of Duty on the platform. The big, massive third-party games, which are yearly franchises, need to be day and date. Single-player games, indie games, I do not give a fiddlers if they're day and date, but just let us know that they are coming.
Right. But let me ask you this. Like, so far, after Stadia closed their studios, so far, I mean, to me, right? To me, it's been looking pretty good. They've been getting games day and date. Like, I get that you might have some inside info. I get that you might say, a company that started off saying they're gonna, make their exclusive games, close that looks bad. And I also get that you could say to have a platform with no exclusive is bad. I understand that. But I don't get where people feel it looks like Stadia is gonna close because of what's going on currently. They got current game, like Outriders is supposed to be the next big game. That's coming day and date. You know, they just got some other games that was exclusive.
Like I'm gonna say that FIFA coming this week was absolutely amazing. That is a big game. It came too late, and I won't use the word dead. Right. Just like Madden, I think Stadia is going to struggle. I have seen some of the things with FIFA, and I'm going to give you a date when FIFA's numbers are going to completely and utterly plummet, and that will be the 1st of April, because everybody is going to be moving on to the next shiny thing. We're going to get the pro games that day, and we're going to get Outriders. So it's good that FIFA is on and Madden is on, because now they've got Frostbite, which is EA's engine, onto it. So yes, a lot of these games which we are seeing now have been already prepped to come to Stadia. It is just you can't get out from the shadow of SG&E shutting down. And again, with some of the interesting comments this week by some of the employees, there's positive parts from it, from the Shannon Studstill, but there was actually some iffy sort of bits there. And the Jade Raymond interview, I think, said a hell of a lot as well.
Yeah, I mean, that had to be hard to have someone who's leaving, not a fault of her own, right? She didn't say, hey, I'm leaving, but, you know, her division got axed, right? And for her to come out and make certain comments. But listen, man, I worked at a company for 19 years. I came to work on a Thursday. This was almost 2 years ago. Seen a guy leave at 10 o'clock, say, hey, man, it's nice working with you. I said, where are you going? I said, letting people go. Called my wife, said, today might be my last day. She said, you've been there for almost 20 years. Can't be. I said, listen, they called me in the office at 11 o'clock. Said, Anthony, today's your last day. The company's doing bad. We got to let you go in order to stay afloat. They let a bunch of people go. Guess what? That company's still alive, right? They got smaller staff. Not as what they had. They lost their major client. So if we could look at it, if I look at that, listen, they're still around. That was almost 2 years ago. But guess what? I got let go. I wasn't mad. You know why? Because it's called business and things like that happen. People was like, how are you so calm? I said, listen, if I was a CEO, we already know that when things go bad, what you got to get rid of? The first thing you go to is payroll. You know, at the end of the day, you got to let some people go so you can stay afloat. So but that's business, man.
Yeah, I completely get that. Again, I think we're just going to read. I don't think there's any point going back over. But it's basically SG&E. It's just a signal. It sounds. I think that'll be the best way of saying it.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm not going to say, because I was the guy to go on record to say you can't miss what you never had, right? I never played a Stadia exclusive game, so I don't know what it was be like. It might suck like Crucible did, right? But I can say that it does make some people lose faith, right? There's some people that say, listen, cloud tech is great. So imagine what 1,000-player, RPG or 1,000-player battle royale could be. But, so we can definitely move on from that because,
I need to move on here shortly. I'll just make one wee point. Nick, we're talking about Stadia is bringing 100 games. It's a ballpark of this year to Stadia, which is less than last year, unless there's some things coming up. Next week, Xbox are announcing 100 games, just indie games next week, and many of them are going to Game Pass, which means many of them are going to go to xCloud as well. And this is something we really need to pick up on as well. If you look at all the different streaming services in GeForce Now, PlayStation, Xbox, Stadia, Luna, the amount of crossover is a hell of a lot. There is a lot of crossover, and this is why exclusives matter. Because if you can play the same games on one platform over another, what is the draw towards Stadia? I'm just talking in cloud terms.
Yeah.
Because
so if I was to answer the question, first of all, it's easy to keep going back to how many games Microsoft's going to get. Microsoft spent $7 billion to acquire a studio. That was bigger than Disney purchasing Marvel and purchasing, that acquisition was massive, right? Howard can compare Stadia to Microsoft, but I get it, right? It's easy to say that, right? Now, to answer your question, people are gonna play for the tech, right? I get it, man. You feel like other platforms are gonna have better this and that, but guess what? It's like MN2K when he challenged that guy, Doc Dark or Dark, whatever his name is, right? And he said, "Hey, you're an Xbox guy. Just try this. I just want you to tell me what you think." Guess what? He said he will not play xCloud again until they could catch up to Stadia, and he had no clue until MM2K sent that to him. I think Stadia people who was on Stadia and then go back somewhere else, like I tried to download Outriders, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't do it, right? Those people are gonna love the tech and they're gonna want to stick with Stadia, but yes, they're gonna become a point in time where if everybody's even, and that we don't know, we haven't seen that yet. But if everything plays the same, then the only thing Stadia can say is they have features, right? And not those features aren't really that hot right now. We could be honest, right? I personally like Stream Connect, but I think people will still choose Stadia because of the tech. Because of if you ask me, hey, are you going to pay for a system, or could you just buy the game on Stadia and play? I mean, obviously, I'm just going to buy the game on Stadia and play, right? I save money. So I mean, that's my counter to that, but.
Yeah, I'm going to put this out here. We're never going to be the same. I'll be positive here. If Stadia is here 5 years in the future, they could be ahead of Xbox or they could be behind. We're never going to have parity. It is always going to be changing, which is why cloud gaming is so exciting, because it's never sitting still. And we've seen that this week with GFN, and they are pushing out new features, or reducing the load times. They're making games get into quicker. And here's the big one. Is they're expanding into different countries and adding more data centers as well, which is absolutely amazing. And that breeds confidence. If Stadia came out next week and said, we're dropping in India, we're dropping in Brazil, we're dropping in Australia, confidence would be boosted immensely. And it's just, actions speak louder than words, and we're not seeing a lot of action at this moment in time from Stadia, in my opinion.
All right. Well, listen, I appreciate
I need to go.
I know you gotta go. One last thing I'm gonna ask you, right? Today is what, the 20th of what month is this? The 20th of March, right? Next, I'm gonna put it on my calendar. March 20th of 2020. If Stadia still's around, if it's still called Stadia, because I get what you're saying, it might be called something else. If Stadia is still called Stadia, March 20th of 2022, will you come back on a stream with me, and will we say, you know what, my timing was off, Stadia's still alive? Will you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've said that on Twitter as well. I want people to come back and say to me, "Ha, you're wrong." I really hope that I am wrong.
Okay. Cool. Well, listen, I don't want to keep you up. I'm gonna try to check you out later. I'm gonna be trying to watch the Justice League. But what time are you guys going on? Let's give a plug for
that. We're going live in 8 minutes time.
Oh God! Hey, man, you gotta get out of here. I'm sorry. Well, my wife's still out. I'll be tuning in. Listen, Duncan, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. You do have a genuine heart. People give you a lot of flack for it, but you're an awesome guy. I appreciate it. And, you could have said, no, Anthony, I'm not talking to you. I don't know who you are, but you came on here and I appreciate it. Is there anything else you want to say before you go?
Yes. If I haven't blocked you, you can follow me on Twitter, Wonderscape. But we're actually trying to get the guys who are at Cloudy with Games. If you go with Cloudy with Games, if you go on Twitter there, we're actually running a competition to win Valheim, which is the big game on Steam at this moment in time. We're also trying to get onto boost our YouTube numbers as well. So if you want to subscribe to us on YouTube, and I'm just going to say this here, I've been actually thinking of backing away from Cloudy, but I think a lot of people just want me there to sit there and shout at stuff. And this is something I wanted to mention earlier, because I don't want to damage the guys on Cloudy as well, because we have an absolute diverse opinions on there. It may not always show, but we do have people who love Stadia. We've got people who hate Stadia is probably the wrong. They are critical of Stadia. We've got people who love GeForce Now. We've got people who love PlayStation. We have got an absolute range of people. So if you want to check that out there.
All right, cool. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please follow Duncan and his journey wherever we go. Cut him some slack. The man likes to, he likes to tell it the way it is, and I appreciate it. So thank you so much, Duncan. You take care, man, and I'll see you. All right, later.